Hello and welcome to the concluding week of our OpenSAP course, SAP Cloud Application Studio for SAP Business by Design. My name is Tiju Thomas and I will be your instructor for this week. I hope you enjoyed the course so far and able to complete your weekly assignments. This week comprises of 6 units. Let's start with the unit 1 of this week, mashups. I'll give an overview of mashups in ByDesign, types of mashups, mashup configuration and mashup web services. Later on, as part of the demo, we will learn how to create a HTML mashup in Cloud Studio based on our user story and embed that to the custom floor plan. What are mashups? Mashups are used to integrate data from Business by Design to a third-party web application or system. The data that is integrated into ByDesign can be consumed and used for daily tasks. The standard offers several mashups under various categories. For example, custom mashups have Google Maps and AutoNavi. Mashups include web searches, company or industry business information, or online map searches. Few examples are certain context-specific URLs of company or websites, embedded web map to show the address or route planners, or some web widgets to help your daily business. Mashups created can be added to a SAP floor plan or a custom screen as well. Now there are various types of mashups available in ByDesign. Each of these mashups caters to unique requirements within the Cloud Studio. URL mashups sends data from the SAP Business ByDesign system to the URL of an online service provider. The service provider uses this data, for example, to perform a search, and the results are displayed in a new browser window. You could extract the parameters of this URL and provide constant values and bind parameters to the outputs of your screen as part of your mashup. Pre-delivered URL mashups offered in ByDesign are payment authorization by the credit card service providers like Wirecard or Computer. HTML mashups embeds an HTML or JavaScript based web page directly on a screen. This can fit into a frame of the UI as part of the SAP or custom floor plan. Example would be the embedded trip plan. A data mashup combines and displays the data from both internal and external sources. To create a data mashup, an integrated authoring tool is used to transform or merge external web services with internal business data using industry standard web service protocols. A custom mashup that is being created as an add-on solution by SAP. This can be created only by SAP. Pre-configured custom mashup are embedded map by Microsoft Bing, embedded route planner by Google are examples. What are mashup category? Mashup category basically groups together the mashups based on the service or information they provide. We have various mashup categories available in ByDesign like location and travel, news and reference, productivity and tool, etc. A port type package, in short PTP, hosts one or more port types. It helps to seamlessly navigate between components that are part of the same PTP without any additional mapping. Address information is an example of a standard PTP offered in Business by Design. Cloud Studio lets you create a port type package as part of your solution. A port binding lets you add a mashup to the SAP or custom floor plan. You can create a custom port binding in the Cloud Studio and include a custom port type package and port types in this port type binding. What are mashup configuration? Mashups can be configured in adaptation mode in the UI. Users can enter the adaptation mode and configure the available mashup, whether it is a standard or a custom one. The mashups created via Studio, once activated, are available for selection in the adaptation mode. All mashups can be accessed via the Workcenter view, mashup authoring in the Workcenter application and user management. Similarly, a mashup created in Cloud Studio appears under a folder mashup authoring within mashup configuration. All mashup web services can be found under the folder web service authoring in Cloud Studio. A unique key is required to allow the mashup to access certain services. This key will be used by the service provider to authenticate the access. For example, to access certain services offered by Google, you need to generate the API key in the Google Cloud Platform. Enter this key in your mashup in ByDesign. What are mashup web services? Mashup web services can be created in Cloud Studio. You can consume these services in a data or HTML mashup. It's possible to invoke the service from an app cell in the studio. These are the various protocols supported: REST, SOAP, RSS Atom and OData. Remember, you need to activate the services, only then this is available for you to be consumed. Now with this, let us go into the demo. Now here I am in the Cloud Studio. I have opened my solution, and as part of the solution you can already see the custom BO that we already created in the previous weeks. So I have selected job application BO, and the very first thing to do here is to create a port type package. This is available when you add a new item under screens. You can see port type package. I can give a name here. I will just give mashup PTP, add. You need to select your business subject, and job application is my business subject. Click on OK. Now this creates the PTP for a job application BO. So you can see as in the Solution Explorer this is already appearing. So you could just open this in UI Designer. This comes up. In PTP you can just add a port type, as we already saw in the presentation. You can just rename it to import, and I need to add a parameter for my import, which is my address. This is what we are going to use in our port binding, later in a mashup as well. So what I am going to do is, as part of job application BO, if you remember, there is a element called job location, which is your country code. I am going to bind this to that, so that whenever the UI appears, you select for the job location a particular record, based on the country the mashup changes the location. So I am going to save and activate this. Yes, that is done. I will close this, and now I am going to create a port binding. So you can see under mashups and web services, the port binding is possible to be added. Mashup PB, I name it, and say add. So as you can see, the moment I have added created a port binding, a mashup configuration folder is created under which you have port binding, mashup authoring, web service authoring. So I am going to open this port binding in my UI Designer. This is opened. I am going to change the category of this to location and travel. In the import type package, I want to use the one which I just created in Cloud Studio. I just selected PTP, and the port type is already selected import. I do not need an output type package, an output type, I leave it blank, and I save and activate this, and then I come back to the studio, and now we are good to create mashup. So I can right click on mashup configuration folder and say what we are going to create is an HTML mashup. Say mashup HTML GIF, click on add. This opens up the UI. Okay. So here the first thing is I am going to select the port binding type as with port binding. I am going to select the port binding we just created. It is going to come up here. Mashup PB is my port binding. As you can see here, you have the import field as the address. Closest I have selected that, and I just give the name as mashup 1. This mashup, and as you can see, your parameter has already come up here, and I already have an HTML code that I can use it for this mashup. I just copy and paste this here. So what this is going to use, it is going to call this maps.google.com, and then look for this address, particular address that you have it as part of the job location. So every time you select a new record, the address is going to change, the country is going to change. So I am good with the code. I just save this. Yeah, you can already check this if this mashup is going to work by just entering a sample value. I can say that my country is India. Just preview it. Here you can see the map comes up, and just say update parameter values, it shows India. Similarly, if you just search for any other country, Germany, and just say update parameter value, say Germany has been shown. So, this is a quick way to test it if your mashup works, the HTML mashup that you created. So, I am going to save it. Okay, I can just remove the sample value that I just entered, save it, and now that you can see the status is inactive, it is very important that you activate your mashup. I have activated it, and I am going to close this now. Yeah. So, the HTML mashup is created. Now, what is next? The next important thing is you have already generated the UI as part of your job application BO. You need to understand, or you need to decide to which UI that you are going to hook this mashup to. So, I have decided that I will pick up this QAF of job application, open this, and let us see how to embed this to the custom floor plan. So, my job application QAF is open. Go to the edit mode. You can see here I will add a flex. Okay, this was not entered, there is already a flex. Okay, there is a pane container here. This is where I am going to place my mashup. So, here you can see where you have to go to the configuration explorer, your solution appears here with the Y namespace, and select the SRC, under which you will see a folder called mashup. And the pipes, this is what your mashup is. Just need to drag and drop to the embedded component into the pane container, it comes up here. Now, the next thing is I go to the controller, and I also need to create an output here, for which I will select my already created port type package. I will go in here, the source mashup PTP is my port type package. When selected that, I need to select my port type preference. So, the parameter already appears, I just need to bind it to the element of the VO, which is my job location. We are done here. So, I come back here, also need to bind at navigation. I go to the at navigation, and on the job applications QAF I have the output. I select the input that I have created, just ensure this is bound to, okay, this bound, this binding is done. That is it, what we need to do as part of the job application QAF. I am just going to save and activate this. It is done. Now, let us launch the UI and see if the HTML mashup appears as part of your job application QAF. I need to use a different user here. Once I have logged in, I already have the job applications assigned with the work center assigned. I go straight away to the job application view. I have one record here. Let me go to the edit, so that it opens the QAF. Now, you can see the map appears here for you. Yep. So, here based on the country selection, the map reloads and select the particular country. Based on the selection, it appears here for you. You do not see the exact country as part of it. The reason behind that is because the job location, for the element job location, you are using a standard country code list. So, it will always look for the initial the code value, which is for India, it is IN is your code value. So, it will look for IN in the map, and whichever location is with IN, it appears here. But the map, the mashup works. You can see every time I change the country, the map is being reloaded. Yeah, that is all what I want to show as part of the demo. Now, to move back, so just to quickly summarize what we covered in this unit, we covered mashups and various types of mashups, mashup configuration, and mashup web services in ByDesign. In the demo, we learned how to create a HTML mashup in Cloud Studio and embed that to a custom floor plan. I hope you enjoyed this unit. See you again in the next unit. Thank you and have a nice day.